mynews.studio.
Lush green forests might actually help us predict volcanic eruptions from space. The question is, could the leaves above us give us a heads up about what's happening far below the ground?
Today's date is June 2nd, 2025. Let's dive right in. Trees growing near volcanoes. How do they turn into early warning systems?
It really comes down to carbon dioxide. When magma moves up under a volcano, it releases CO2 into the soil and air. The nearby trees take in this extra CO2 through their roots, which acts like a fertilizer. Their leaves get greener and healthier, and satellites can actually spot this change from above.
So we're talking about indices like NDVI, the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, right? Satellites use that to track changes in leaf color and density from orbit?
Exactly. NDVI measures how plants reflect light, especially in the near-infrared range, to gauge their health. Greener leaves reflect more. So, if a forest near a volcano suddenly gets a lot greener, it could signal that magma is moving underground.
But there must be limits. What happens if there's a lot of cloud cover? Or if the forest is so dense that satellites can't really see the ground?
That's a real issue. Persistent clouds or thick tree canopies block the satellite's view, so it's tough to get clear images regularly. And sometimes the CO2 gets mixed with other gases before it even reaches the satellite's sensors.
So satellite monitoring works best when it's paired with ground sensors, right? How did researchers actually test this idea in the field?
They tested it at places like Mount Etna in Italy and Rincón de la Vieja in Costa Rica. Researchers noticed CO2 emissions rising, then saw the trees getting greener, and later confirmed magma movement and even eruptions. By combining satellite views with ground measurements, they often spotted warning signs earlier than with traditional methods, like seismic sensors or gas samples.
That's significant. There are millions of people living near active volcanoes, and eruptions can be sudden. How much advance warning can these vegetation changes actually give?
Studies show that the greening effect can appear weeks to months before an eruption, depending on the type of trees and local conditions. But it's not meant to work alone. It's most effective as part of a larger monitoring system.
Could this plant-based approach also help with other natural disasters, like earthquakes or landslides?
That's an area researchers are looking into. The general principle, using plants as indicators of what's happening underground, could lead to new monitoring methods. But right now, the strongest results are with volcanoes and CO2 emissions.
It sounds like making this work in the real world is about integration. Are emergency agencies starting to use these findings for actual warnings?
Yes, NASA, the Smithsonian, and local disaster response groups are working out protocols for analyzing satellite data quickly and sharing it. The aim is to spot unusual vegetation patterns and send alerts or evacuation orders when needed.
What about outreach? Communities need to understand what these alerts mean and how to respond.
That's part of the rollout. Local communities are being informed on how to interpret alerts and what steps to take. The goal is to make this method a standard part of volcano monitoring worldwide.
So, by observing how trees respond to these underground gases, there's a real chance to save lives. It's a shift from just relying on tremors or lava flows to including forests as warning systems.
Exactly. With around 10% of the world's population living near volcanoes, this technique could really improve how we prepare for disasters.
Let's sum up. Magma releases CO2, trees take it in and get greener. Satellites pick up on that, and when this is combined with ground data, we can get earlier warnings of eruptions. There are challenges, like cloud cover and mixed gases, but it adds a valuable layer to monitoring volcanoes.
And it shows that sometimes the earliest signs of danger are right above us, in the leaves.
Thanks for listening as we explored how trees might help forecast volcanic eruptions from space.
Thank you for tuning in. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.